It's an intriguing idea for a book, and exciting that you've managed to make it happen. Why did you think it was important to make the book, Aaron?
Yeah, so Calypso has been such an integral part of the West Indian literary tradition. And Calypso and cricket, they have always been combined, and throughout history. And I know a lot of the people who follow cricket out here know about Cricket Lovely Cricket. And that was in 1950 when West Indies won at Lord's for the first time. They defeated England. And Lord Beginner, Lord Kitchener, they signed Cricket Lovely Cricket, and two pals of mine, Ramadin and Valentine. But the point is, that was not the first Calypso that was written about cricket. Calypso has been written from 1928. I have Calypsos. The first Lord Beginner wrote was about Leary Constantine, whom he also mentioned as that pal of mine. So right through history, during the 50s, 60s, especially the 60s, when the West Indian team became one of the best in the world, and then the 70s to 90s when they dominated, and even when they declined, people were writing about cricket through Calypsos. And they were not only covering the cricket, they were also covering complex issues like racial issues, or when South Africa was readmitted into Test cricket, they went to West Indies to play their first Test match after readmission, and there were several Calypsos written about that. And the problem is that there is a tradition of cricket writing or cricket literature. In 1981, for example, David Reverend Allen, he compiled a book called A Song for Cricket. And that was a collection of songs written about cricket, a 200-plus page book. And I told you, Calypsos have been written from 1928 onwards, and 1981. By then, a lot of Calypsos had been written, and sitting in India, we knew that Calypsos had been written about Sunil Gavaskar as well. But that particular book contained just 4 pages of Calypsos. And the rest were about Anglo-Australian writers writing good to mediocre or to not so good songs. So there is a gap. There is a gap in cricket literature. And this gap had to be filled. And this is one step so that the gap starts being filled. So there is a big gap out there. And compilation like this goes a long way. And this is not only in Calypsos. Also, we hear of Harold Pinter, Arthur Conan Doyle, or P.G. Wodehouse writing about cricket. We very seldom hear about George Lamming, Sam Selvon, Errol John, who also wrote about cricket in English. Or even people like R.K. Narayan in India. They wrote about cricket. Anthologies do not include these. So there is a certain gap. And this was one of the ways of filling this gap. This was very important in that sense.
And these are all written by in English at first. It's not translations, isn't it? Most of them.
Yeah. The ones I mentioned, yes. Even the ones written in India, R.K. Narayan or Rohinton Mistry, they're all famous writers writing in English, but their books are not so well known. The cricket writings are not so well known.